Thank you for watching the news here on Times TV. You're with me, Jawez Banda. First, the headlines. Public Accounts and Budget and Finance Cluster of Parliament has expressed dismay over reductions to budget allocations for some institutions. Former President Bakiri Muluzi urges Malawians to ignore myths surrounding the COVID vaccine. And auxiliary teachers have threatened to hold vigil at Parliament if they are not permanently employed by Thursday. We have these and other stories. Please do stay with us. The Public Accounts and Budget and Finance Cluster of Parliament has expressed dismay with the reduction of budget allocations to some institutions and has since called for powers to be able to effect changes in the allocations. The committee's chairperson, Shadrack Namalomba, said this in Parliament on Tuesday when the cluster presented their reports. Among other critical areas, the report has since indicated that the downward adjustment of the budget to the National Audit Office now has the potential to affect its operations and hinder the government's efforts of clearing the rubble. The cluster also noted that the allocation had been cut by 42% from 633 million kwacha in the 2020-2021 national budget to about 337.5 million kwacha. Namalomba explains.
Even if we make a recommendation here, even if we meet so many stakeholders, even if people lobby in whatever way, it is only the Minister of Finance. The law mandates the Minister of Finance to increase that allocation, to increase on that vote. Now, what we are doing now, we are at the mercy of the Minister of Finance. We can meet, we can lobby, but if the Minister of Finance decides not to move an inch, nothing happens. So our committee was of the view and made a recommendation. Look, we spend a lot of resources scrutinizing the budget. We meet several stakeholders. Stakeholders lobby for more funds, but we are hopeless.
Meanwhile, agriculture technicians under their union have complained over the government's failure to include their demands in the 2021-2022 national budget, currently under scrutiny in Parliament. Agriculture Technicians Union of Malawi, ATUM, National General Secretary Isaac Kwisongole, says they, along with the Ministry of Agriculture, in February this year resolved to have their demands for promotion and mobility support in the budget. Audrey Kapalamula reports.
According to Kwisongole, the ministry promised to include their demands in the 2021-2022 budget. Unfortunately, the issues are not reflecting in the budget.
Our main issues were promotion and the mobility. And looking at the budget, it seems like we are not there, we are not included there. So we are very worried. Would like to make some consultation with other stakeholders so that maybe we should go back to the ministry and map the way forward.
Kwisongole says the group is expected to meet the authorities in July this year after the passing of the new budget. The Minister of Agriculture spokesperson, Gresham Lungu, says the ministry is working on procuring a good number of affordable motorcycles to be distributed to the extension workers. Lungu says in the 2020-2021 budget, the ministry saved some money which should be used to procure some motorcycles. On promotions, Lungu said the two parties agreed to push for functional review with the Ministry of Local Government through all councils where the extension workers were operating. ATUM demands for improved welfare have been long outstanding, such that in May 2020 the group staged an industrial strike up to August, and the development affected the timely release of crop estimates.
The former president of Malawi, Bakiri Muluzi, has urged Malawians to ignore the myths surrounding the COVID vaccine and receive their dose. Muluzi was speaking after receiving his second dose of the COVID Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Gary Sabati has the details.
The former president received his first dose of the COVID jab on 15 March. As he received his second dose on Tuesday, Muluzi disclosed that he did not, after his first jab of the vaccine, experience any of the negative symptoms as spread by some Malawians then. He says this gave him the courage to receive the second vaccine. Muluzi, however, expressed worry over the fact that less than 400,000 Malawians have received the AstraZeneca vaccine so far.
You see, there was a lot of myth in this issue and a lot of misinformation. The social media, unfortunately, has contributed to some of the things that we're seeing. There were many things which were being said to say, oh, if you get vaccinated, this is going to happen, which is not true. It's true, the numbers are not impressive at all. The reason why the first vaccine were actually destroyed, remember, the government had to ban it for the very reason that there were not enough people that actually came forward to receive the vaccine. So the message which you would like to convey to the people of Malawi, please don't listen to this misinformation.
There have been concerns in some districts that most COVID vaccination points have been running out of the vaccine due to high demand. Subsequently, in a separate interview, Blantyre District Health Office's Director of Health and Social Services, Gift Kawalazira, confirmed that the city has had the vaccine run out.
I have to say that the first consignment that was allocated to Blantyre, over 5,000 doses, was actually depleted. So we're trying the best that we can to ensure that we actually consume as much as we can before it actually expires.
When contacted for a comment, spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, Joshua Malango, said the ministry is aware of the situation and that in the meantime, the vaccines will be sourced from other districts that have lower demand.
Meanwhile, government and health experts have admitted that many people in rural areas are shunning the vaccine because they are yet to access messages on the pandemic. The experts stress that non-governmental organizations in various communities have a critical role to play in ensuring that people in rural areas receive COVID vaccination. Sam Kalimira has the details.
Community Health Ambassador Maziko Matemba said the government destroyed expired COVID vaccines because the majority of people living in rural areas did not get the jab as they lack knowledge on the benefits of doing so. Matemba was speaking in Mzuzu on Tuesday during an engagement with civil society organizations, health experts and other community leaders on COVID-19 vaccines. He said there is a huge demand for COVID-19 vaccination in towns, while millions of people in rural areas are not shaken with the pandemic.
So the question now is, we need to make sure we mobilize vaccines. That's why some of us nationally maybe we have seen that we have engaged Parliament, we have engaged Minister of Finance, we are engaging other sectors to make sure that at least we have vaccines.
He said it is the government's responsibility to make sure that vaccines are available everywhere, including in health facilities in rural areas, so that those who make a choice to get vaccinated can easily do so. Public Health Institute of Malawi Environmental Officer and the Minister of Health, Wiseman Chimwaza, said the government wants all Malawians to get vaccinated as soon as possible if the country is to successfully fight the pandemic.
As a minister, would love to have all the people get vaccinated today. That's our wish. But that would depend on, in the first place, the community out there, they have to be properly sensitized.
But Umozan and the Government Organization Network representative Kondwani Bota said sometimes they fail to reach out to many people because of logistical challenges.
Areas that are hard to reach, like areas in Katobe North and areas in Katobe West, where it's very difficult to reach there, information about COVID-19 is not as much as in the places where it's easily accessed.
As of Monday, only 763 people had received the second jab, while 4,763 got the first jab.
President Lazarus Chakwera has expressed concern over substandard structures which are being erected in the country. Chakwera was speaking during the opening of the Malawi Institute of Architects annual general meeting in Mangochi on Tuesday. During the ceremony, President Chakwera has also been installed as the patron of the institute, becoming the second head of state to be installed after founding President Hastings Kamuzubanda. Chakwera says his administration wants all buildings in the country to conform to modern standards. Here is part of the speech which was made by President Chakwera.
I do not think it's an exaggeration to say that architectural standards in this country are in a state of crisis. And if it wasn't for this morning, I would have stayed in a state in which I would have said there's no hope, except I've been inspired today. For decades, so many organizations and institutions have been bypassing the expertise of the Malawi Institute of Architects in favor of cheap substitutes. Scan any urban area of Malawi from the ground or the sky, and you will see how obvious it is that in the design and development of most of the infrastructure built in the last 3 decades, Malawi Institute of Architects was missing in action, just like MIA.
Auxiliary teachers under the Primary Teacher Education EPT 13 have threatened to hold vigil at Parliament if government fails to employ them permanently by Thursday. The teachers were employed in February on a 5-month contract. Wezi Gausi has more in this report.
Before presenting the petition to the Parliament, teachers marched from Lilongwe Community Center ground at Old Town to the Parliament. They chanted songs asking government to employ them. Speaking after presenting the petition on Tuesday in Lilongwe, chairperson for the disgruntled teachers, Joseph Mweru, says they demonstrated after noticing that there is no provision of teachers' recruitment in the 1.9 trillion 2021-2022 national budget. He says when they were signing their contracts, government promised to employ them permanently after 5 months contract.
After understanding that there's a slot number there in the budget to recruit us, we came up with this decision to demonstrate so that they should understand us and they should recruit us with an immediate effect. If they can do this, we are starting the Jews here on a Monday, and we have done this looking into the teacher remuneration in different schools there. In total, 3,272, the whole Malawi. So if you can see the number itself, you can tell you more that if you can be terminated this contract, then the ratio will not be 1 to 60.
Chairperson for Education in the Parliament, Brenex Kaise, says they have noted the teachers' concerns. He says they would be presenting the issue to the relevant authorities. Government introduced the accelerated teachers training programs to train more teachers with the aim of reducing the teacher pupil ratio. However, the recruitment has been challenged over the years due to inadequate resources.
Of Education has underscored the need for collaborative efforts among communities and school management to improve the quality of education in the country. Deputy Director of Basic Education in the Ministry, Ellen Simango, says school-based social contracts implemented in 3,847 primary schools have proved to be effective in improving learning outcomes. Audrey Kapalamula files this report.
Simango made the remarks at the opening of the National Conference on Social Contract Lesson Learning for key stakeholders in Lilongwe to share experiences of the project. She said the Social Contract project has brought together key community stakeholders in management of primary schools, a development that is key to improved learning outcomes in the schools. She said community participation was not adequately provided in most schools, and the Minister of Education was the only one responsible for education improvement.
The school management committees, the PTAs, the mother groups, and the parents themselves are very crucial. At the same time, we would want to see the head teachers and the teachers out there also managing their schools effectively. So this project is helping us in all those areas to make sure that the teacher is delivering in the classroom, to make sure that the head teachers are doing their work as they're supposed to do.
Chairperson of School Management Committee at Chipaso Girls Secondary School in Kasungu, David Ngoma, said the project has helped to keep girls in school in his district.
Yeah, the project is helping because I've seen some of the foods which have been done at different primary schools. For example, I'm at a girls' primary school and I've done quite a lot so that girls do not drop out of school.
The Ministry of Education has been implementing the project since 2020 with support from USAID and FCD under the Local Government Accountability and...
This is Times News. We'll be back with more shortly.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
The summer of soccer is here, and becoming the premier bet soccer hero is all about making the right selections. It's time to trust your natural instincts, to believe in yourself, be brave. Because there's the premier bet jackpot of $100,000 for the taking. So never give up. Bet now and receive up to a 250% win bonus. Premier Bet Soccer Hero. It's all in the selections.
Welcome back to Times News. The Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, has described it as pleasing that many students who would have otherwise had no chance or the opportunity of being selected to university continue benefiting from its open distance learning program. The university introduced the program last year with funding from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, through its Strengthening Higher Education Access in Malawi activity project. Speaking during the induction of 300 students selected in this year's program, Executive Dean of the University's Ndata School of Climate and Earth Sciences, Wilfred Kadewa, said they were happy that the objective of the program is being achieved.
The program in principle falls under the USAID-funded SHEMA program, whose main objective is to open up access and increase opportunities for students to come in and get their education. So beyond having the generic students that are selected to come and be resident on campus, there are many more Form 4 students, and even those who have already gone through their education but would like to equip themselves some more, but the opportunities on campus have been limited because of infrastructure available. But this now opens up to those who can also study from home remotely using online facilities and other distant learning. The progress has been good. We had in the first cohort 45 students enroll, and 30 of those have gone to the end, have finished, and are due to receive their certificates. The experience has been good in that the enthusiasm was high.
Director of Open Distance Learning for the Strengthening Higher Education Access in Malawi Activity Project, Nathan Mgala, said such programs are important as they are a stepping stone to higher education.
We are expecting that these students will come out ready to find employment, but also to begin their own businesses. Because at Shema, what we are encouraging is to say, once they train in these short courses, they should be able to start new businesses on their own. But also, we are giving them skills by attaching them to institutions and some industries, so that they, get those employable skills, so that once they are done, they can be easily employed by the different industries.
Chitipa District Hospital has had to close its TB ward, turning it into an emergency treatment unit for COVID-19. Authorities at the hospital admit that the development will affect TB patients in the district. Patience Lunda has the story.
Chitipa District Health Office Director of Health and Social Services, Wilson Nkhani, said most times those with TB are treated as outpatients. Nkhani further asked well-wishers to come in and assist the hospital in building the emergency treatment unit at a place they have identified.
The emergency treatment unit is important at the district hospital. We have had this issue, I think, for quite a period of time.
Meanwhile, designs for an emergency treatment unit for the hospital are currently being formulated with help from the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders. Malawi Health Equity Network Mehin Executive Director George Jobe suggested that the hospital should find another place as an alternative emergency treatment unit.
At the hospital, that kind of resolving challenges is not a good way, where you would say, let us kill John so that Mary can survive. I think that is not good. We look at tuberculosis is one of diseases that are affecting as many people as possible.
Chitipa District Hospital has 45 patients on TB treatment and admits up to 2 patients in a month. Speaking when she visited the hospital area, Deputy Minister of Health, Chris Kanyasho, said the Tonse Alliance-led administration is committed to promoting healthcare in the country.
And in international news, AfriForum, an Africana-focused rice group in South Africa, has launched self-defense training for commercial white farmers after claims of a spike in the number of farm owners killed in violent attacks. The group says long simmering tensions over white farmers owning most of South Africa's business farms for more than a quarter century since apartheid are driving some of these attacks. Franco Puglis reports for the VOA from Pretoria, South Africa.
South African farmer Shanice Potgieter recalls with horror when in February 2 black men attacked her at her farmhouse.
This is the passage where they made me lie down. I had to lie here so that I couldn't see outside. When it started, I just thought to myself, today I'm losing my life. When I saw them coming for me, the first reaction was, today I'm going to die. I was worried about my daughter and what would happen to her, so something would happen to me.
While Potgieter survived, Afrikaner rights group AfriForum says 59 white farmers were killed in such attacks in 2020 alone, a 30% increase in fatalities from 2019. Although the motive for these attacks have not always been attributed to racial tension, AfriForum says most perpetrators are mainly black. In January, the group began training commercial farmers, the vast majority white Afrikaners, a self-defense program after getting a license and in line with the country's self-defense law.
The first aspect of the training will be how to use a firearm. We show them how to use this firearm in and around the house. We then also issue them with a digital radio. We actually give them training in how to exactly utilize this radio. In the end, we want all of these farmers and their neighbors to have an effective communication network.
Tension spiked in October 2020 when white South African farmers and black protesters faced off over a white farmer's murder in a town of Senekal in the eastern part of the Free State province. after his body was found tied up to a pole. The incident heightened racial tension in the area and politically motivated protest followed. Racial anger, observers say, is fueled by the fact that white farmers still own 70% of South Africa's commercial farms 26 years after the end of apartheid, while economic inequality persists within black South African communities. Groups representing white farmers, like the Transvaal Agricultural Union South Africa, accuse authorities of failing to protect them. Black farmers also have been victimized by these attacks, but to a lesser degree, says Transvaal Agricultural Union South Africa.
We cannot expect that the police will ensure a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week presence in areas which is troubled by violent criminals. The local inhabitants need to organize themselves, and they must be trained to enable them to withstand a violent criminal attack.
South Africa's National Police declined several requests for an interview, but police statistics show 49 white farmers were killed between 2019 and 2020. That's out of more than 21,000 murders nationwide, where the vast majority of the victims are black. President Cyril Ramaphosa last year urged South Africa not to rally communities along a racial line. The far-left Economic Freedom Fighters Party in March accused AfriForum of being racist for opposing farmland expropriation without compensation. AfriForum says they are simply protecting the rights of Afrikaner farmers. Franco Puglisi for VOA News, Pretoria, South Africa.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines once again. The Public Accounts and Budget and Finance Cluster of Parliament dismayed with reductions to budget allocations for some institutions. Former President Bakiri Muluzi urges Malawians to ignore myths surrounding the COVID vaccine. And auxiliary teachers have threatened to hold vigil at Parliament if they are not permanently employed by Thursday. Remember, you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. You have been with me, Jawes Banda. Have a lovely night.
The summer of soccer is here, and becoming the premier bet soccer hero is all about making the right selections. It's time to trust your natural instincts, to believe in yourself, be brave. Because there's the premier bet jackpot of $100,000 for the taking. So never give up. Bet now and receive up to a 250% win bonus. Premier Bet Soccer Hero. It's all in the selections.
Walk in as a man. Come out as the man. House of Men. The best look is what you get with us. Trusted by every suit lover. The smartest choice for any occasion. We stock high quality products with flexible payments. We also sell shirts, shoes, neckties and more to go with your suit. We're in Bata House next to Amarellis Hotel in Blantyre. House of Men. We are the feeling that you get when you wear the best suit. House of Men. Look good, feel great.
There's a free header, goal! And it's in the back of the net from Robert Lewandowski. Because that is... We already raised the lion, remember? He's on the cross.
Looking for the ultimate football experience? Front row seats to feel every emotion, to be part of the conversation and to live every banter. Looking for Ronaldo, Hazard, Sterling.